46 and 28. Bucks plus 300 to win the East, while the Sixers are plus 450. So when you're hearing that, Nick, like, what's the better bet here?
I think it's still Milwaukee at 3-1. And I think it's really interesting where the 76ers are priced here because, your guys' beloved Boston Celtics are at plus 425. So technically lower odds than the 76ers, despite losing Robert Williams, likely for the entire first round of the NBA playoffs and potentially even longer. So to me, it seems like the odds makers have lost a little bit of faith in the 76ers, who by all accounts are fully healthy at this point, and they look great those first few games with James Harden in uniform. And Harden has looked awesome when they play an average or below average opponent, but it seems like every time they play a good team, he has a 2 for 11 game with 6 turnovers and he's 1 of 8 from 3. So the honeymoon period, I think, is kind of worn off with James Harden, and people are back to being skeptical of the Philadelphia 76ers. Meanwhile, the Bucks are still yet to go on that 10-game winning streak where they remind everybody why they beat the Phoenix Suns 4 times in a row to win the NBA Finals last July. But to me, they still have the highest floor by a pretty good margin of any of these teams in the Eastern Conference. I don't love the Nets at plus 250. Way too many question marks with that team right now. So I think the Bucks at 3-1 are a pretty good bargain. I think that number is going to steadily come down as we move through the playoffs.
Hey, Nick, just real quick. What did the Celtics show you last night? They had nobody. They were shorthanded. No Jaylen Brown, no Jason Tatum, and they nearly took down a playoff team in the Raptors.
Yeah, they did. I think they answered a lot of questions about their depth. And, it is just a one-game thing. We've seen teams do this lately. Like the Heat got tripped up twice in the last couple of weeks by teams that were resting a bunch of stars. So, maybe some of it is just the other team, thinking we have a cakewalk because 4 starters are out. But, a lot of people questioned the Celtics' depth when they were a sub-500 team midway through the season. And, picking up Daniel Tice at the trade deadline now looks like a genius move. Somebody who knows the system, is very familiar with everything the Celtics do. And with Robert Williams gone, he's given them good minutes. He played 41 minutes in that game last night, and they only lost by 3 to a Toronto team that played really well. Pascal Siakam, put up 40 points in that game. So, when everybody's back healthy, if they can make it through round 1, we'll see what the matchup is, and you get Robert Williams back, now you feel a lot better, I think, about the depth that you have in spots 6 through 9 on the roster. Grant Williams is playing well. Peyton Pritchard's playing awesome off the bench. Derek White has fit in well. This team's going to be really dangerous. I'm just a little concerned about what that matchup ends up being in round 1, but, likely without Robert Williams.
All right, Ryan, Bucks plus 300 to win the East, Sixers plus 450. Nick's going with the Bucks. Where are you going?
I'm going Sixers, and this is strictly a regular season thing because I think it's completely different if we're talking finals appearance and championship. But the Bucks are a little banged up. Giannis and Middleton have not played in 2 of the last 5 games, I think it was. They're adding Brook Lopez back, who is our starting center. That's going to take some time. And like Nick mentioned, the Sixers' honeymoon phase is over, and they're rolling. Ever since All-Star break, Harden's been on the team. They've gotten their team chem. It looks better than it was. To win the regular season with not much games left, I'm going with Sixers over Bucks, but Giannis hasn't proved that he's beatable in the playoffs in the last year and a half. So playoffs is a different story.